hiding things, harming others, stopping others from harming you. I'm Thane Riddle. This is Cloak and Dagger.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo baby. A gush bush bush, my niggas. It is I, the great Thane Riddle, the fresh prince of privacy and security consulting, punching in for another underpaid shift boss live from the heart of the Blacklight district of Ashgababad. You're listening to the PAZNIA radio network, the most spectacular treasure in history. We are live on zap.stream. If you're a Bitcoin fag, you can zap us on zap.stream or Nostr, which is how those of that lifestyle choice say send us Lightning Bitcoin over Nostr. If you're a Monero Chad, you can send us some Monero at xmrchat.com/PAZNIA radio. Whatever you do, tell them Thane sent you. Give me some free content to help me kill time on the show. It seems like some of our Rumble Boomer listeners might have died from the explosive Taco Bell diarrhea going around. Zap.stream is biggest so far. Yes, that comes up later in nuclear biochemical threats news. If only the boomers on Rumble listen to this episode that is airing now for the first time a week ago, then they would still be with us. Do go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleXRadio. Get your ass into the PAZNIA radio network chat on SimpleX so that you can leave me free content there for me to kill time on the show, or some questions and comments for me to read with my guest in like an hour and a half. You can also call in like an hour and a half, talk to me and my guest. Speaking of which, my guest this episode is one of my biggest guests ever, Juraj Bednar, a founder of the second realm you may have heard of, called Paralelni Polis. I guess he's also developing Ridester, a decentralized rideshare market built with Nostr and Cashew, layer 3 Bitcoin. Now here's news. There's supposed to be a thing. There's supposed to be sounds that play for the news.
This is Cloak and Dagger News, catching you up on this week's stories, propaganda, or psychological operations critical to your security and privacy.
Can he do it? Can he kill time? Of course he can. Yes, he can. The bell of the build. The great Thane Riddle, fresh prince of privacy and security and killing time. Digital news. Start WRT version 1 is out. What the fuck did I just say? Well, you know those guys Start 9? They make that thing called Start OS. It's for self-hosting stuff in a super cool and easy way. And now they've got this fucking router operating system. It's kind of like OpenWRT. It's a fork of OpenWRT, but with their style of being cool and easy, I guess. I haven't taken a look at it yet, but I'm sure it's good if they put it out. Start WRT. We've talked about it on the show before. Matt was here on the show, the Start 9 guy, talking about it. And now the first stable version of Start WRT is out. Go take your fucking OpenWRT compatible router and install Start WRT on it now. It's stable. Or, you could buy Start 9's hardware too. We don't have a coupon code for that or anything. I'd like to have it though, because that hardware sounds really cool. Actually, it's not quite like you know, with Start OS, you buy a Start 9 Embassy. It's like a, what is it, a fucking Raspberry Pi or some sort of crap. It's like, whatever. You're mostly paying for tech support. But in this case, with their routers, the hardware is actually pretty cool. It's like hardware. You plug in the Wi-Fi module so that they can, because it's a loophole, because you're not allowed to sell Chinese Wi-Fi routers anymore, which is to say Wi-Fi routers in the US. So luckily they could just unplug the chip. So you can just buy the router. It's not a Wi-Fi router. It's an Ethernet router. And then you can also coincidentally buy the unrelated chip that you plug into it that you can also buy from them. And it's a fucking RISC-V router. Okay, which that's a fucking open
on being prepared for the future.
What is that from? But anyway, you might not understand anything I'm saying, but trust me, it's cool. Okay, RISC-V. Oh, it's from Fallout, probably Fallout 3. RISC-V, open standard for CPUs, open hardware stuff. It's really cool. You should probably, actually sounds pretty cool. Maybe you should just buy Start 9's router, but whatever. Start WRT is stable now. Are they even selling the routers yet? I don't know. You should probably check Start 9's website. Did I kill enough time on that one? All right. Elsewise in digital news, Ashigaru Desktop V1.1.0. I don't know. I heard that they made it swankier and nicer. Ashigaru Desktop for using Whirlpool, Ashigaru Whirlpool. And if you're not in the know, it's the best way to launder Bitcoin. So you might want to check that out on desktop. Ashigaru Desktop new version sounds good. Elsewise in digital news. I'm hearing that maybe the boomers from Rumble made their way back home from the bathroom and didn't die, just suffered painfully. Yes, we will be discussing your ailment shortly in nuclear biochemical threats news. So yeah, here's a good elsewise digital news for those of you who like keep using Windows and you think it's no big deal, and you're not taking me seriously when I say that you don't need to do that and you shouldn't do that. You should stop right away. Here's a fun thing that happened with Windows 11 because an elite hacker, okay, from the Scattered Spider ransomware hacker group. I guess they did some kind of attack on a jewelry retailer. Blah, blah, blah. I forgot all the details of the attack. It doesn't really matter. But at some point in the attack, they used a bit of software called ngrok for tunneling, for getting around a firewall. I guess that's what they were doing with it. I don't know. And their OPSEC was, you'd think good enough, right? They've got the he's got the VPN, he's got the that's it. He's got the view. That's it. And the problem, however, was that this fellow was using this piece of malware called Windows 11. His entire operating system was malware, out to get him, out to spy on him for the government. That was the problem. So because he was using Windows 11, they were able to do this funny thing where Microsoft could tell the bludgies that somebody with a certain GDID. What is a GDID, you may ask? Well, nobody was asking that last week, but they're asking now. It's a funny, unique identifier. And it's almost a wonder why they didn't have this in previous versions of Windows. There was plenty of telemetry and stuff in previous versions of Windows, but this is a new level. GDID is simply a unique identifier. It's a per install. unique identifier. So if you reinstall Windows 11, you get a new one, but the everyday user will end up linking the new GDID to their old one because whatever, they're fucking logging into OneDrive with the same account or some shit like that. This links all the GDIDs together. They were able to tell that somebody visited an ngrok signup page with that Windows 11 GDID at the same time, the same exact time as they were using ngrok, getting the ngrok ready to go, I guess. And this is what we call a correlation attack. You might have heard of it. And somebody does something at the same time as you. Maybe that somebody is you when it's highly specific. So then you run with the idea that, oh, well, maybe this GDID belongs to a member of Scattered Spider. And from there, it all unravels because the GDID is connected to, you know, a lot of bad stuff because this jackoff is just using Windows like a retard normie, even though he's trying to hold a company hostage for $8 million. He decided to do it with Windows 11. So now that guy's in prison. And hopefully he doesn't know anything about the other members of Scattered Spider, or maybe they'll have to scatter like spiders or something into the off of the web. That's what happens when you pluck one spider out of the web, all the other ones scatter. So yeah, you know, maybe you shouldn't use Windows. Is this crazy thing that I've been saying to you, but I've been picking up a vibe that some of you don't take it seriously because I'm a privacy consultant. So I know what's going on. Okay. You might act all cool to my face, but I know what you guys are doing statistically, what some of you are doing. I know what goes on behind closed windows. Did I burn enough time on that one? Good. It's like 6 minutes per story. This is great. We're way ahead of time here. Here's Elsewise Digital News. I like this one. This one's a feel-good human interest story. So there's this little thing happened lately. I feel like I covered it on the show, but all regulation is just a blur to me. I can't tell one regulation from another, but there's this one EU cryptocurrency regulation license thing. It's called MiCA. They want these, if you're an exchange, if you're a centralized faggot white market exchange, you know, I know what you're thinking. Oh, centralized faggot white market exchange. You've said enough. I don't want to use it. Great. Good for you. A lot of folks don't have that reaction. They need bad things to happen to get them away from the platform. So luckily, bad things happen. Binance, one of the gayest of all centralized white market exchanges. It's a big one. It's a big one, folks. I guess they failed to get a MiCA license. Maybe they didn't want it. I don't know. I don't care to read that much into this kind of stuff. But nonetheless, so as a result, on paper, at least, Binance has to stop operating in the EU. Motherfuckers in the EU got to get off there unless they, you know, fake like they're not in the EU, which is a thing that folks do for exchanges. But a lot of folks don't do that because they're faggots. But they're not as much faggots as they could be, folks, because it turns out that about 70% of the exodus from Binance in the EU are going to self-custody wallets. That's right, folks. They would rather go to self-custody wallets than go to MiCA licensed exchanges regulated under these new laws, whatever the fuck they say. And that sounds good to me. That sounds like a lot. Can you even think what is 70% of EU Binance users? That's a lot. That's a big number. moving to self-custody because a regulation drove them away. Isn't it beautiful when you see the principles of agorism at work? When you see regulation choking the white market to death, you see the state killing its little golden goose and driving all that wealth away into the black and gray markets, which soon self-custody will be. Don't worry, because I'm sure they'll outlaw that. Here's another elsewise digital news. NGit-CLI version 2.6.3. Speaking of exoduses, I'm hearing there's some kind of GitHub exodus action. I don't know why. Maybe you tell me. I don't pay attention to this crap. Why are people exodusing from GitHub this time? It wasn't enough that it was a faggy centralized platform from the beginning. It wasn't enough when Microsoft bought them. It wasn't enough when they started training AI with everyone's code, which I don't even care about myself, but a lot of folks acted outraged by that. But whatever. I guess something else. There's some other GitHub exodus happening. I don't know why. You tell me. But it seems like NGit, which is a fucking, it's like I guess it's a decentralized or decentralized-ish, not Nostr-based kind of Git thing. I'm not too familiar with it. I know about some other cool decentralized Git stuff, but I don't really know NGit. I should probably learn about it. But anyway, it seems like they did something in their latest versions to, I'm thinking making onboarding easier is what I'm picking. Remember, I don't read this stuff. I don't really read this stuff very carefully, but it seems like they're trying to piggyback off of the GitHub exodus. Whatever. That's cool, right? That's worth talking about for 4 minutes, right? Elsewise in digital news, there's this thing called radar chat. I heard of it. Sounds kind of cool, I guess. It's a signal fork that has self-custodial lightning payments in it. You know, you could be a lot cooler than that. You could also be a lot gayer than that. You know, Signal's like a faggy centralized service that has access to your metadata, but Pinky promises that they do cool stuff with fucking TEEs so that they can't see the metadata, even though they are funded by federal actors who maybe have backdoors in TEE hardware, but who knows? Whatever. Moxie Melon Spike. Moxie Melon Spike is actually a prop comedian, a cypherpunk prop comedian who blows up melons with spikes. Not to be confused with Moxie Marlin Spike, who used to be a really cool open source developer, and then he fucking sold out. And that's the guy who made Signal. Any reason for this tangent? Not really. It's burning up time. But Signal's fucking gay.
Well, it depends. Can you go fuck yourself?
Signal's fucking gay, but I guess if you have a client that does self-custodial lightning payments on Signal, that's kind of cool, right? You could do worse than Signal. At least it's not Telegram, right? Here's elsewise in digital news. Again, can you believe it? And we're going to die on a whimper. The digital news is going to end on a whimper here. BIP 110 soft fork that nobody cares about. Well, I guess it's to do with that Knots versus Core bullshit drama. Turns out nobody actually cares, predictably. BIP 110 is reaching its deadline for the fork with less than 1% minor signaling. Wah, wah. It's even worse than I thought it would be. Here's some Mother Nature threats. News. Canadian wildfires. Oh no. Can you believe that for another year in human history, there are forests on fire just like every other year ever? Yep, that's right. It's happening again. This time, hitting pretty hard in, I want to say, northwestern Ontario and a little in Quebec and a little in Northwest Territories, whatever the fuck that is. Does anybody actually live there? Not very many, but everyone's still gonna bitch and moan and be all dramatic about all the people who had to be evacuated. You know, nobody would live on a native reservation, or as they say in Canada, First Nations. No one would ever live on a First Nations open air concentration camp if you didn't fucking force them to be there in the first place. And outlaw. Did you know it's not legal for them to own land? It's basically a mandated socialism. So you're allowed to be impoverished, and you're allowed to drink, and all that alcohol concentrated in one place. Forest fire hazard, right? It's probably some native person throwing a cigarette in a puddle of Jim Beam, except that actually I think American liquor is a victim of the trade war. I think they're not putting it on the shelves in Canada because so it's not Jim Beam, it's some kind of Canadian whiskey. It's not Molson Canadian, that wouldn't light. It's a pool of some sort of Canadian liquor. And yes, the native did notice that the puddle was on the ground, and he jumped to drink it off the ground, but he couldn't get it in time. That guy's a hero. But anyway, whatever. There's something like not quite 1,000, but almost 1,000 wildfires. Not quite 100, but almost 100 out of control, they say. So I last heard. But more to the point, affecting people who actually live in populated areas. There's a bunch of smoke in northeastern North America. A bunch of smoke in the sky. And you see, some folks may have seen it. Some of you may have seen it, or smelt it. And you know what they say? Whoever smelt it dealt it. Some of the lowest air quality ever. Whatever. Big deal. Bunch of smoke in the sky. Don't get burnt up by the smoke. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Go. Don't. This. Just pointing this out. One day, there might be chemicals in the air that are actually harmful to you acutely, immediately. And in order to not breathe them in, you'll have to be in a biochemical shelter. That means you're going to need a carbon air filter, and you're going to have to maintain positive air pressure in there. Would be nice if you did what Thane Riddle said and you read The High Security Shelter by Joel Skousen. Can you just hold your breath really long? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? I didn't think of that. It's worth a try. If you don't have, well, here's the benefit of holding your breath really long is you don't have to put in any work ahead of time to plan or prepare, even in a relatively cheap way that isn't too hard. Some of those free divers can go for minutes. Kind of serious question. Okay. Well, okay. All right. If you've trained to hold your breath for minutes, sure, there are certain things that could save your life. Like if it was a house fire kind of thing and you just need to run through the smoke, oh hell yeah, that could make the difference. But if it's something like I don't know, biochemical attack or more likely nuclear fallout, which you don't even want it to be on the same side as a foot of concrete as you, then it's another question. But yeah, you might as well try holding your breath. Why not? Crackdowns news. The EU wants to tell devs how to design their apps. It's all for your own good, you see, because the evil Facebook and Twitter have bottomless feeds that force you to be addicted and scroll forever. And you have no say in the matter. It's big tech, you see. We're just going after big tech. That's why we need these laws that say the state can tell developers how to design their apps. As long as it's as long as it's to reduce harm in some way, which shall be defined by them. I can't see how that could possibly go wrong. I fully support this law. I shall put my vote in whatever European country I live in. Poland. I'm going to put my vote in Poland. Is that how it works in the EU? That you put a vote in? No, I don't think so. I think it's a bunch of unelected bureaucrats doing whatever they want. And soon they're going to have a military so that they can force individual member states to comply. That'll be interesting. Here's elsewise in Crackdown news. We got a lot of flock blunders here. I literally have 4 flock camera blunders for you. Blunder number 1. Some bludgies did a wrongful felony arrest on a journalist, a guy who happened to be a journalist. It's just their luck. You may have heard of a felony arrest, but I think I brought a felony arrest up on the show before because I was talking about one of the dangers of using a fake plate, which, hey, I'm a big fan of fake plates, but just to point it out that, if you pick the wrong plate and you go getting bludgies interested in you and they run the plate, it turns out that it's on a car it's for a car that doesn't look like yours, or it's whatever. It's something else is wrong about it. If it's a car that's lost, right, or stolen. If they think your car is stolen or that you're using a wrong plate on the car, they'll assume that you're in the progress of committing a felony. Same thing if they think that your car itself is stolen, which I guess is one of the things I just said, actually. So that's what happened here. A flock camera picked up a little reading on a license plate. And, well, actually, let's start a little further back than that. Way back in the day, things were different back then. I'm nostalgic about it already. I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe it was last year. Who knows? Some Jaguar Land Rover dealership misplaced a license plate while they were doing a photo shoot. So they reported the license plate lost. Now, there's this funny thing that New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, does with manufacturer plates, which is they print these tiny little letters in the middle. And somewhere along the way, those tiny letters in the middle got dropped from the record. And it was just like, basically a wrong marker was recorded as a, lost, stolen, whatever thing. And this motherfucker, a journalist, like I said, just their luck, a journalist, he borrows a press loaner that has a plate more or less close enough to that with the missing letters, and or rather without the missing letters because it doesn't need them. And the flock camera dings it it reads that plate in, send it in, and the system dings it and says this is like a stolen car or something. So then the guy got boxed in by 4 bludgy cars and bludgies with guns drawn, made him get out of his car and kiss the pavement because that's what a felony arrest looks like. And it made him look a little bit bad because, whatever. But, these things happen sometimes, right? It's no big deal. Flock themselves claim 93% accuracy. Okay. That's pretty good. 93% sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. And there was another thing that was really funny in this story, which is, after they realized this happened, they looked and they saw that the flock cameras were tracking 4 other matches in the country for the same plate. So they contacted those 4 other matches, the drivers, or they tried to anyway, and said, or at least some of them, and said something to the effect of, you have to drive your car home and leave it parked because we can't turn this off. If you don't do that, the cops over there might might do a felony arrest on you because we don't know how to turn it off. So can you just like pull over and get out of the car? Remember when the Detroit Bludgies arrested Robin Williams because he matched a face print, and then like 3 years later they did the same thing to a pregnant lady. That's funny. And in Chicago, there was a time when they held a prosecutor held a guy for a year based on what turned out to be like a fake gunshot. There was a gunshot detector that dinged in the wrong direction or something, or had a false positive, and they held a guy for a year because of that. Just, whatever. To make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs. Here's another flock blunder for you. And the next three look awfully alike. The next three flock blunders are pretty much the same fucking shit happening in multiple states around the same time. In Albany County, Georgia, I want to say Albany, Georgia, 5 bludgies were fired for misusing flock cameras to stalk or surveil people illegally. Interesting. I wonder what they were doing that for. You know what I mean? I'm thinking the next story, the next couple stories are going to confirm your suspicions about what they're doing that for. In South Carolina, there was 2 more bludgies got in trouble for the same shit, stalking people, surveilling people, using flock cameras when they weren't supposed to. And in Texas, 1 more. And in this time, you got more information confirming exactly what you thought. He was stalking a girl bludgie. Ooh. He likes the way her ass looks in those pants. And he wants to follow her around a little bit. He's just trying to get up the nerve to talk to her. Is that so wrong? So that appears to be an epidemic. And that'll be interesting to see what they do about that, if anything. NBC Threats News, nuclear biochemical threats. In this case, it's the bio part. Cyclosporiasis outbreak. Some kind of parasite, they say. Outbreak across America. Some kind of parasite is have you ever seen a video on YouTube called Sheldon Burger King foot lettuce? I want you to go watch a video called Sheldon Burger King foot lettuce. And I think that basically explains the story. But yeah, somehow they say anyway, some parasite, foodborne parasite, is just popping up in all these different locations for some reason, which makes them think it's some kind of fast food chain. Is it actually Taco Bell? I don't know, because I don't look into this stuff very much. I know Ryo2 said Taco Bell. I don't know if it's actually been linked to Taco Bell or if you were just saying that as a joke. But yeah, just watch Sheldon Burger King foot lettuce and whatever. Let's just do that instead of listening to me. It's much more entertaining. Logistics. Oh yeah, by the way, of course, I mean, I feel I need to bring this up because I'm paranoid, because I'm a paranoid conspiracy theorist. I'm always going to be a little weirded out when something like that happens and think, you never know. You never know when something's being done deliberately. But, okay, it was traced to Taco Bell lettuce, but the tainted lettuce was also bought by others. I guess it made its way elsewhere as well. That's funny. You got enough problems if you're living on Taco Bell. You got enough problems. My Rumble listeners, you know what I'm talking about. Logistics news. What the hell are my notes even saying here? The Strait of Hormuz is back to the 20 million barrels of oil trickle. As you'd think, almost all of it going through the northern route, the Iranian yogurt controlled route, and the American blockade is still on. I know that they hit some merchant ship. I don't think they're doing a whole lot though. And elsewise in logistics news, it's a lot of the same 5 different similar logistics news items. Black Sea and Sea of Azov, in the fucking Baltics. This is to do with the war between the Soviet 2.0 Russian oligarchs and the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers. Apparently, the U.S. and Iranian yogurt have set the new standard. They set the bar and decide that now it's cool and all right for you to just go blowing up civilian merchant ships, especially if they have oil. So that's just good and fine now, and everyone wants to do it. We're just like you, Dad. We learned it from you. So now they're doing that in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. Now, and the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers claimed to have hit some crazy high number, like over 100, well over 100. Who knows if that's true? But in any case, they're doing something, and I think that this mostly, now this is both ways, mind you. The Russian state is doing the same shit, but it based on the kind of movement that happens over there, it feels like something that would hurt Russian exports of oil more than anything, which is interesting, and it has knock-on effects with everything else, because now this is oil mostly meant for China, right? And the People's Republic of China, the wise so-called communists who are actually fascists like everybody else, are dipping into their oil reserves, kind of like the U.S. And if there is an even tighter squeeze on oil imports, if they're not getting the oil imports from Russia, then they have to make a choice. Like, do we dip even more into reserves, or do we start buying more like from Iran and stuff, which would increase demand on oil more, make prices go up more? So it's an interesting move by the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers, as their moves tend to be. Now let's talk about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Again, this is that shit between Africa and the Middle East. That tiny little sliver of water, the Red Sea with those little slivers, you look at it on a world map and you're like, can you even squeeze through there? Yes, you can. Zoom in. All right, zoom in. On the south end, that little choke point, that's the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. I've warned you a couple of times about this before, as others may have too. If you were looking, if you're gay enough to read news, which I'm sure as hell not. But whatever. Bab el-Mandeb Strait, not, as far as I know, being shut down yet or anything, but there's been a bit of a scare, increased threat, you could say, to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And as I've said before, if that shuts down and you can't take that shortcut between, what is it, the Indian Ocean? I don't know. And the fucking Mediterranean, then, that's also bad. Whatever. Like the Strait of Hormuz is bad. That would also be bad. Namely, if they're happening at the same time, to be bad. So there's that. We'll see if that happens, but it's at increased risk of happening. Wait till war news before I tell you why. How about that? Here's another one. The Houthis, who, spoiler alert, are the ones that might bring down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, could also bring down a Saudi pipeline that's bringing 7 million barrels of oil a day out. And this could be the saving grace, as I will go over later. This might be why Saudi Arabian state doesn't want to pursue a bad conflict with the Houthis right now. But suffice it to say, there was a time, there's this terminal at the end of this, the way the Saudis get oil out is to go through this big, long pipeline west, and it terminates in the Yanbu terminal. And the Yanbu terminal has been hit once already from very far away by the Iranian yogurt with a long-range, slow drone. And if they can do that from that far away, which is very far away, the Houthis can do much, much worse to that terminal, to that pipeline, because they're right fucking by it. They're much closer. So that's something to think about too. That they might, there's kind of a perfect storm brewing for oil and stuff and whatever, fertilizer and all that crap, other petroleum products. And you may have noticed that. You may have heard about that. Bit of a perfect storm brewing. Kind of bad. Getting worse. Like, there are many ways that it could get worse, and it's possible that all of them could happen. Speaking of which, elsewise in logistics news, the Russians feeling the squeeze more than ever. I think the Ukrainian Nazi CIA niggers hitting all those oil refineries and shit, and now maybe even the oil exports to a degree. It's had knock-on effects on the Russian economy, and Russian folks are just good old-fashioned folks who like to drink too much, and they like to hit each other. They're way too quick to hit each other. Besides that, perfectly all right folks. Not necessarily big fans of the Russian state, mind you. Just good old boys. They don't like it when the economy's bad. They're not liking that. Inflation, way up, food prices up. You know how it is. It's happening in Russia. There's your fucking logistics news. Explosive diarrhea was to cover the fertilizer shortage. Is that Doc Barber's saying explosive diarrhea was to cover the fertilizer shortage? Are you saying that the explosive diarrhea caused by the parasite will produce more fertilizer because it's like manure, and that will help bring the supply up? Yes, I like that. Probably true. Burger King foot lettuce. Intelligence and the lack thereof news. This U.S. senator died in like a weird looking way, and everyone's got their conspiracy theorist hats on. Was it the KGB heart attack gun? Because he had a heart attack, they say. And yes, so some of you may have heard of the CIA heart attack gun. Little do you know, it was actually a KGB invented technology, just so you know. So it's really the KGB heart attack gun. The CIA just, took it, because why wouldn't you? Don't you want a heart attack gun? But if the medical exam on this faggot is to be believed, it's not likely a heart attack gun, because it looks like it was an aortic dissection, not to be confused with an aortic tear, which it's often misquoted, misreported as being, seemingly. If it's true that it was an aortic dissection, then it probably wasn't a heart attack gun, because I don't think heart attack guns cause that kind of heart injury. Nonetheless, and also it's kind of like, why would you kill this faggot? Like, no one cares. No one cares about this senator. He's an everyday globalist, useful idiot, so to speak. He only flipped on the Russian state issue when everybody else did. When he got the memo, he's no different from any other globalist senator. There's no known motive to kill this guy. So that goes into the lack thereof. News. War news. Boring old war news. More boring than ever. Just about as boring as ever. The blah, 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 Gulf, blah, blah war. Whatever. More boring war stuff. The yogurt actually sunk a merchant ship in the Strait of Hummus this time. Whoops. But who cares? The U.S. hit a bunch more land targets in Iran, one of which was a nuclear power plant, which seems to be working, by the way. It didn't even disable it. But one of those hits did get too close for comfort to a nuclear reactor core. And And by the way, it's not the kind of plant that makes the good stuff for weapons. They can't do that. Not that kind of plant, just a power plant. And the Irani yogurt hit more US bases all over, whatever, fucking the whole Middle East. Who cares? They even hit a little bit in the UAE, but I guess that bribe the UAE paid the yogurt doesn't cover US bases, which is fair. Maybe it covers the UAE not trying so hard to intercept those strikes, though, huh? Who knows? Anyway, all boring, dumb war shit. One of the coolest things that happened, the US finally did something new with drones. They launched their first ever open attack with a small swarm of kamikaze water drones, going after a ship maintenance port, some warships, and even a submarine. The water is running white with yogurt, folks. But yeah, water drones. That's cool. The Iranian yogurt has been using kamikaze water drones for months. We've seen a little water drone funny business happening in the Baltics, and the CIA or US military may have used a water drone before in one or more covert ops or black ops thing. I feel like last year, even on the show, I was talking about a funny explosion at an oil pipeline in the water. And I was guessing it might have been the CIA or something, and that it might have even been a water drone. So it may be the case that, that was the US doing it, but, secretly, so to speak, not subtly, but secretly. And that's what makes something a covert op instead of a black op. In any case, this is the first time the US openly used water drones for war. So water drones are coming into their own, boss. It's time to get out to your local pond, tinker around with a Raspberry Pi and a tensor chip and some 3D printed parts and motors, and go make some little kid with a stupid little model boat cry. All right, go blow up his little model boat for testing purposes. It's for a good cause, boss. And that kid's anger could transform him into the next generation Cypherpunk. It's the cycle of war. Just like Big Boss was talking about at the end of Metal Gear. It's a cycle of war. That's how we make the new soldiers. You got to blow up that kid's model boat for the greater good. Now, how can we forget about the Houthis? Blah, 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 whatever. The Houthis are whatever. They threatened to close the Strait of Bob Dole. Now, the Houthis have struck. They have finally struck. They have gotten into the fray. However, it was not to straight up close the Bab el-Mandeb yet. No, instead, the Houthis decided to poke the old bear again, fire some missiles at Saudi Arabia. And of course, those faggot Saudi royals lifted their beards out of the butt cracks of little boys, at least long enough to push the blow up Yemen again button. And you can bet they dove right back in again, not even watching to see the results. So there were some airstrikes in Yemen, in the overall direction of, where they think some Houthis might be, over in the Houthi bed of Yemen, on the west side. Maybe some women and children too, whatever, who cares? Now, if you're a sharp cookie and you've had the bad luck, the bad taste of actually caring about the damn news in this last year or so, and indeed this show has been going on long enough that I may have even covered this on an early episode, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, last year something like this was happening with whatever, the Saudi royals taking their beards out of the little boy's butt crack, but pushing the bomb Yemen button just last year. And then Team America, World Police, swooped in to save the day with yet another homoerotically named military operation, Operation Rough Rider, helping their little oil cash cows in the Saudi state bomb those nasty little Yemeni civilian terrorists to smithereens. That'll show you to live in Western Yemen. Yeah, man. What is it with the homoerotically named operation? Rough Rider, Southern Spear. I know there's more too. I'm forgetting them. It's really weird. It's like they're doing it on purpose. Don't ask, don't tell. Now, in case you don't know what the fuck the deal is with that gay stuff going on in Yemen, well, you know how states make these funny little claims to these very big chunks of land and water and airspace, but sometimes a new state pops up inside it that doesn't like the first state. You know how they call those civil wars as if it's some kind of grassroots thing happening out of nowhere? But most of the time, one or both of those states are actually backed by a third state from somewhere else altogether. Yeah, that's what's known as a proxy war. Now, you've seen this lately in Syria, Ukraine, Mali, whatever, you name it, all proxy wars. You have two foreign states or two globalist coalitions fighting over some other country, but kind of pretending that they aren't. What's that, you say? What about independence for the country? Not being controlled by any globalist coalition? Poppycock! Naive poppycock. What rock have you been living under for the last 75 years? That's not happening, Buster. So anyway, that's what's been going on in Yemen for quite some time. A quote-unquote civil war, where the old Yemeni states backed by the Western globalists through Saudi state and the US. And a lot of folks in Yemen didn't like that very much. So it turned out the time was ripe for activism and insurgency. And that's where the Houthis came in, who of course are backed by the Iranian yogurt in much the same way that they back Hezbollah or those other little insurgent groups in Iraq that were, trailblazing those FPV drone attacks a couple months back. And this network of Middle Eastern insurgents backed by the Iranian state is called the Axis of Resistance by some. And even though the Iranian state is arguably the most independent state left in the whole world and isn't fully controlled outright by any one globalist coalition, at least not yet, they have still very much at least picked a side in World War III. And of course, that's the Russian-Chinese side, or the BRIC side, as you might say these days, which of course is not one globalist coalition, but rather an alliance between two competing globalist coalitions, the Russian oligarch Soviet Union 2.0 and the Chinese so-called communist, but actually fascist now like everybody else. So whatever. There's your fucking history lesson. The war is happening more. And now that I've killed some time on the show with that boring history lesson, last year when the Saudi state and the US were attacking the Houthis, that was already enough to shut down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It's happened last year. Some ships didn't even start going back through there until a few months ago. And over the last couple of months, as you may know, the Houthis have been threatening to jump into the US real yogurt conflict by shutting down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And maybe this is what they had in mind all along. Maybe they just meant, we're going to poke the bear and attack Saudi Arabia again. And then when they pop off a war with us, that'll shut down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait like it did last year. But I think maybe the Saudis thought better of it because they looked sideways at their own pipeline, at that little terminal that the Houthis could blow up. That's their last lifeline of oil exports. And they're just like, you know what? Let's not blow up the Yemenis right now. Too much. Just one little wave of strikes and that's it. So it's not clear what's going to happen there. But whatever. The war is fully back on, which makes it way more boring to cover. It's all a blur. I don't care. Another fun thing is the folks across the Middle East are reporting the rate of interception of missiles from the Iranian yogurt seems to be quite low, which means either A, they ran out of interceptor missiles, or B, the Iranian state has bribed / intimidated them all into not intercepting missiles going to US bases. Either way, a fun development, I guess. And whatever, some bridges in Iran were hit by the US and some US military targets were hit. The bridges that were hit hint that the US wants to stop ground reinforcements from getting to the coast, maybe, which could hint that they're planning on doing a big operation on the coast. At the same time, it could just be a logistic attack on civilian commerce. Because, the US keeps saying this. They want to do shock and awe and fucking blow up all the civilians to piss everybody off. This port city, Bandar Abbas, some claim it gets as much as 80% of the imports to Iran. So, kind of a big deal. That could be it. So whatever happens over the next week will tell you for sure why they blew up the bridges. And more refuelers are swimming in. So no end in sight for your boring ass war. Again. Oh yeah, in Israel, the Israeli state threatened to nuke Iran, as you do, but it doesn't mean anything. Won't happen. Whatever. Here's some Soviets 2.0. Let's see if I can squeeze this in. Can I squeeze that in before the break? I guess not. Just know that the Soviets and the Ukrainians are fighting some more. And there's kind of some interesting stuff happening there, but go fuck yourself. Here's a break. We'll be back with our guest, Juraj Bednar.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
While infrastructure costs for the PAZNIA radio network aren't exorbitant now, there are some costs. It will also increasingly demand more time as we move towards longer transmissions and more transmissions. If you'd like to help cover current costs and even the expansion of our efforts, please visit PAZNIA.com/shop. There, you can make a one-time fiat, Bitcoin, or Monero donation. You can become a stakeholder, and you can even order some one-of-a-kind PAZNIA merch, ranging from shirts to hats to flags, all the way to beach towels. Again, that link at PAZNIA.com/shop. Cheers from the Free Republic.
Now that the technological foundation is laid for the PAZNIA radio network, we are now ready to start building out a regular, and more frequent transmission schedule of self-liberational media. Do you want to host your own show on the PAZNIA radio network? Do you already have a show or podcast that you would like premiered or replayed during our transmissions? Something else? Reach out to Coordinator Rayo to discuss details. Email coordinator@paznia.com. Again, coordinator@paznia.com. See you in the second realm.
Hello, Freedom Pioneers! Billy Mays here. Are you tired of big tech tracking your every click? Are you sick of algorithms deciding what you see? Are you bored of Netflix subscriptions that cost a kidney and Spotify ads that last longer than the song? I know you are, because I'm fucking bored just thinking about it. But I have the solution: infrastructure. So powerful, so private, so decentralized, it will crack the concrete of censorship. It's the brand new PAZNIA library. That's right. It's a free to-use privacy-friendly decentralized combination of Netflix, Spotify, and your digital book app, and it's live right now. Check it out. We've got the full HBO documentary, The Anarchist, with Jason Henza and Miranda Webb. We've got the legendary Bill Cooper documentaries. We've got Alongside Night, libertarian fiction, and Eyes Wide Shut, which, let me tell you, is basically nonfiction. And wait, There's more. We've got Trailer Park Boys. We've got Sky Huddleston's Second Realm Speed Dating, and music streaming is coming soon. Plus, a digital book library is on the way. Terabytes of content, more to upload. We have the beginnings of true media freedom, an infrastructure base with many, many potentialities. I'm Billy Mays, and I'm always here to help you take back your media. Visit lbry.PAZNIA.com. Again, lbry.PAZNIA.com to start streaming today. Billy Mays, signing off to go binge watch Firefly. Over and out.
GOAT General WILLY2 here with an important message regarding food, health, and wellness. Sometimes the high-quality PAZNIA wheat, grass, and other forages just don't do it for me. Sometimes I need a change. In those cases, there's only one decision. Me and my closest compatriots bleat that slow bleat for a few hours until we arrive at the local Steak and Shake. When we get there, it's like clacking right into heaven. I get up to the order booth. Double steak burger and fries, extra spicy, with one of them glass bottle Mexican Cokes. Little one sexy ass walks up and orders some nonsense like 2 orders of fries and mozzarella sticks. The best thing about it? It's not like I'm cheating on my pure Bisco diet. They don't use the highest quality grass-fed meat, tallow, and you can pay in Bitcoin. Steak and Shake didn't pay me to make this recording. I just think more goats should know where to go for a good and healthy time. Unofficially on behalf of Steak and Shake. Go eat Steak and Shake. It's goatlicious.
And now, back to Cloak and Dagger with host Thane Riddle.
Why am I still alive? Kill me now. I'm back with one of the most legendary guests I've had so far, Juraj Bednar.
Hello.
So,
How's your day?
it's all right. I have to do this stupid show today. So it kinda takes up a lot of my time and just makes me tired. So you might want to tell them, who the hell are you?
Oh, that is a very interesting question. I haven't figured that out so far in my life. But yeah, I just make something up on the go. So right now I'm a cypherpunk. I write software and books and stories lately. So
Stories.
yes.
My God, you're a storyteller. That was a big buzzword like 5 years ago. I think you're a little late.
No. Not that kind of story. I'm very interested in this genre called lunar punk. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of
And
interested in that too. Yeah.
and I thought that there was not a good example of a lunar punk novel. So it's a real story, not a storyfying of facts, which I don't like that much. Stories is kind of the traditional story. So I wrote a novel called Tamers of Entropy that tries to tackle the lunar punk spirit and cypherpunk.
I didn't know. I didn't know that. Is that like out?
Okay? It's out. Yeah. It's tamersofentropy.net, and hopefully it will be interesting for people.
What's like the premise?
And so it's 3 parts. I think you might like it. It's very very Vonu as well. So the first part is a hacker story, but it's kind of reversed, like the traditional Hollywood movies where the FBI are the good guys and so on. And this story here is basically the premise is that the machines have already won, and the machines are the algorithms written in statutes and laws and so on. And these bureaucratic organizations in the hacker story are like completely controlled by the internal rules and so on. So unlike in most Hollywood stories, these are just bureaucracies, and I look at these, um, over whatever. um, like oversold organizations. Like I think personally, like FBI and CIA are not some superhero agents, but they're just part of a bureaucracy that is
Well, I
not
mean,
much
you're
different
talking
to your local DMV. So
you're talking to a guy who basically advocates killing them all on like
yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's worth doing that. It's like really they're really just a machine-controlled organization with a very slow and weird algorithm that doesn't allow them to actually do anything useful. So it's a kind of reversed hacker story. Then the second part happens at a hacker camp in Europe. We have chaos communication camps every 4 years, like the Olympics. I don't know if you heard about it.
yeah.
And there the basically the same characters or a few of the same characters try something that is called a neurofeedback, which is a way to connect like a brain-computer interface to connect your brain to the computer in some way, and basically what they end up doing is discovering a way to alter their consciousness using this technology, and interact with the computer in a different way and interact between each other. So it's very starts a little bit psychedelic and so on. And the third part is basically using this technology to merge with a self-trained parallel artificial intelligence. So I don't call it artificial intelligence. I don't think there's much artificial about it. I like to call it non-biological neural networks or something like that.
Yeah.
And so basically they need to, because everyone is or the big corporations are training AIs, and they don't like competition, and they try to abuse the regulators and so on. They need to find a way to train these and run it in a way that is not very controllable and outside of jurisdictions. And another thread that connects the whole book is identity. So it's very, very interesting because the characters are against using surnames. Surnames are kind of a tax enforcement control mechanism, and they were not adopted very willingly in the world. The main use was to basically be able to identify the taxpayers and make sure that everyone paid their fair due, in quotes. And Another part is mesh networks. So they're basically from the start, the whole thing is built on some parallel infrastructure, and they're basically using it as a backbone for their operations. So it's quite a complex story. Sorry for those who fell asleep.
No,
But that's my
I'm
answer for now.
I'm very interested because, I mean, most like libertarian fiction, whatever, it is not super inspired, really. It's just kind of like, you know, autistic, like Ayn Rand type stuff that like, here are my
Yeah.
morals. This is the moral of the story, and in like a very ham-fisted way, also mixed with like Ayn Rand's sex fantasies about how she wants to be like tied up.
Yes, yes.
But
Yes, but I have to say that what reading Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead caused in me actually was like a very positive outlook on the world.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, there's definitely
I'm
good stuff in
yeah,
there. She's
yeah,
just
yeah.
not, you know, the most like well-rounded fiction author. But it kind of sounds like, based on what you've told me so far, like it sounds like much more creative and interesting than, you know, like other stuff I've read in this genre of like libertarian
I hope so. I will give you another recommendation if you know Paul Rosenberg's fiction.
Yeah, I think
That is
we
amazing.
have that. We have Paul Rosenberg's books on libertyunderattack.com/Paul.
Yeah,
I think there's a Paul Rosenberg bundle.
yeah, he's actually the person who recommended me talk to you and talk to Raya. So
Oh wow, really? Jeez.
yeah.
Paul Rosenberg's hope Paul Rosenberg's not listening to my show. That's embarrassing. So anyway, I'm going to ask you this cheesy canned question I came up with to ask every guest. How has privacy and security come up in your life?
Privacy and security. Well, if you try it, how did it come in my life, or like how?
Well, I don't know. How has it come up for you? I don't know.
I think that for most people it is just a buzzword that they play with basically, and without really understanding what it does and what is the actual change in their life. So then you find guys, asking me to call them an Uber because they have turned off their GPS so well that they don't know where they are or something like that. And like nothing against that. Like if you do small changes and I don't mean only technology-wise, but also in your life, like just curtains and stuff. It's good to do small changes, but my look or my perception is more like identify things where you want to be really private, like for example releasing some software, and with that make sure you stay fully anonymous, not privacy. Like if the samurai devs didn't make a mistake and really stayed completely
Amen.
anonymous, then it would be great. And I think like having more privacy in general in your life is kind of like a shallow goal, I would say. It won't change super much unless you do like really hardcore stuff that have that basically affect your life a lot. But there are like in some things you want to be really anonymous, and it's like non-negotiable, and you don't want to be identified at all. So I think doing it like this, like separating, okay, I don't want people to know that specifically this about me, or that I work on this project and so on. It's way more achievable because you can actually compartmentalize and you know how to separate these parts of your life. So yeah, I'm and security. So I founded a few IT security companies in my past life. So I also think in this case that we are overdoing it and not applying like the right effort. This is what happened in EU. Like like after they passed the ridiculous GDPR, and I'm not even talking about the stupid cookies shit. Uh, uh, what it cost is like you have your kids in the kindergarten and they give you a 2-page form to sign, and like this doesn't bring any value to anyone. Like they have to collect the same information, they do the same things with it. It's like nothing has really changed, but now everyone is bothered with these forms and having like whatever GDPR compliance, and you know, people have to sign stuff that is not, and it's like it doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah, now
they're
you need like ad blockers to get rid of
yeah
the GDPR
yeah
cookie pop-ups.
yeah yeah. The cookie pop-ups were even before GDPR. GDPR is like this. Basically, you have to agree with everyone on how you handle personal information, but it didn't really change anything. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I think like I was selling penetration testing and doing it was my company. I enjoyed it, but now you know you are asking whatever and shop selling tires to do like penetration test and security audit, and they don't want it. They some of them have to do it for some you know bullshit reasons, and then even from the provider side,
Right.
like you know this is like a regulatory capture dream, you know. Oh, like the state
Yeah.
is forcing everyone to have security audits, so I should have been happy. But then you talk to people who clearly don't want your product. They don't care about what you provide. They need it because there is some kind of bullshit regulation. They spend thousands of dollars on something they don't want and probably don't need. What if you know the list of customers of a tire shop leaks? Oh, it leaks. I'd like you know, I don't think that the risk justifies the cost to comply, and it would not prevent the hack, because in Europe another thing that you have is that the state forces businesses to collect personal information. Like they couldn't, like an e-shop cannot sell you a product
Right.
without knowing your address, telephone number, and recording your IP address. They actually need to collect at least 2 of the 3 and save it permanently. It's required by law. So, okay, now you're forcing me um, to collect this personal information and to protect it at the same time. But I don't want it. Like if I sell you an ebook, I couldn't care less where you live and what's your telephone number and what's your name.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I,
It's
I
merely
don't
a
want.
power grab, a thinly veiled power grab
Yeah.
to
So,
establish that.
for me, like most people should not think about especially the IT security as much as they are forced to, and that kind of distorts everything, you know. Then everyone is crazy about doing it, and I understand, of course, there are some things that you should secure, some things you should protect. With it also applies to physical security. Um, so I'm not saying it's bullshit. Like I enjoy it. I was doing it for years, and I'm quite good at it. But it has become much less creative and much more, box ticking exercise. And that's basically why I got out, because
Yeah.
I
And I
know
mean,
I
the
don't want
corporate
to.
cybersecurity industry is all just a fraud anyway, for the most
No,
part.
no. There are very good companies still. Like I have a lot of very smart people work there. Like it
Well,
depends
that
on
may be the
what they
case,
what
but
they do, but
people aren't always picking those good companies.
yeah. Sure. That's another another problem with whatever um, big companies being preferred in everything, and like
Well,
actually a
one
small company.
one thing I really like that you said right away about privacy, when you said an area where you want to be anonymous, you used releasing software as an
Hmm.
example. And I really
Hmm.
like that because this is something I rant about on my show. I even coined the term counter engineering. I haven't written a
Hmm.
manifesto for it yet. I guess I should.
Oh, okay.
But
Yes, you should.
counter engineering. But yeah, one of the things is I'm basically promoting that builders of all kinds, not just software developers per se, should do it at least pseudonymously, if not anonymously, and have at least halfway decent OPSEC, especially if it's anything even remotely to do with privacy or decentralization, but really just anything, honestly. And also part of that is sort of disregarding copyright law and licenses, and that kind of, it also opens up a lot of possibilities because it means like we can
Hmm.
use we can use leaked source code, and just like not
Hmm.
care, or whatever. That's kind of like
Yeah.
something that I'm rolling with.
These days, like especially in software, I don't think copyright does much even for the big companies, because these days you can like just vibe code, uh, like with the new models you can create a lot of a lot of things, and uh, like it's kind of moving to hosting and infrastructure, like
Yeah.
keeping proprietary software. I don't think makes sense anymore, because everything is moving to the AI compute anyway. Like I
Yeah.
realize
See what you mean.
I was like I'm very bad at accounting, and I'm not talking about the accounting towards the state, just keeping books and having like sense. For example, how many books I have printed and sold. It's good to have it, but I was always too lazy to keep track of it, and like I'm not very structured, and like whatever a spreadsheet with sales and stock and so on. I didn't want to deal with it, and like most people would use some kind of software to deal with it. Now I just have a long chat with my AI agent, and I just type it. I sold one book today
Yeah.
for this price, and I press enter, and it's my accounting software. I don't like now I can keep track because I don't need to. I can even voice it. I can import orders from the eShop, and it would keep track for me. So I replaced basically the whole stock management and accounting software with a prompt. And so what I'm saying, I think lately the stock price of what's the name of the company doing the tax software, Inuit or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Intuit, QuickBooks.
Into it,
Yeah.
into it, yeah. So I've read that it crashed so hard because now really all you need is an AI agent and
About
maybe an
fucking time.
accountant. Yeah, about
Those guys are,
about that. Of
I
course,
hate those guys. They're trying to do that vendor lock-in shit. They try to get everyone
yeah,
to use
yeah,
their proprietary format of
yeah.
whatever file format. Now let me ask you this. What the fuck is Paralelni Polis?
Oh, it's a very interesting project that we started, and it actually lives now somewhere else. So let me give you the story. So I was part of an art group, an art project, that when we wanted to do something anonymously, and that was like the early days of Bitcoin. And me and my friend Pavel, we were kind of in this group saying, okay, Bitcoin, you can do it. You know, it was back at the time where everyone thought that Bitcoin is anonymous and people would buy drugs on Silk Road and couldn't care less about chain analysis and so on. Anyway, so this was one of the ways how we could do the project anonymously, and in a group of artists, it is like you cannot stay just in theory for long. You know, they want to see action. They want to touch things. So we were, you know, telling them that Bitcoin is gonna change the world and it's new, finally, electronic cash and so on. And they said, okay, so if it's so cool, we wanted to have a physical space anyway. So let's start a place where Bitcoin will be the only money accepted, and you would and we would try to do internally everything on Bitcoin. So that was the original idea. But then with a group of artists, it needs to have some kind of deeper meaning, and there needs to be a concept and all these, you know, things that nerds like I don't understand. But it ended up creating something that we call Institute of Crypto-Anarchy, because crypto-anarchy is a serious practical philosophy of anarchism needs an institute, and it's a very nice pun, I think, to have an Institute of Crypto-Anarchy. Maybe there should be a centralized institute of decentralization as well.
Yeah. It's
anyway,
funny. Yeah, it's like what we do in PAZNIA, where we have, like, you know, the department of this, department of that. You know?
Yeah, nice. And we decided, or one of us decided, that there should be basically a hipster coffee shop, because if we have the best coffee in Prague and it will be only available for Bitcoin, we will the experiment will be the best, because everyone will have to learn how to use Bitcoin to buy the best coffee. It turns out that it's not so easy to have the best coffee in Prague. Like, it wasn't easy whatever 10 years ago. Now it would be impossible. This is like a super hipster wave with where you cannot compete if you are not like super into it. And we needed some kind of concept that unites this. And so we were thinking that Bitcoin and also anarchy and libertarianism and like precious metals and things like that, they are quite unusually represented in Czech Republic and in Slovakia. I'm myself Slovak, not Czech, but I was doing this with people from Prague. And we were looking at the reason, because of course we came out of communism, or at least that's the official story. I hope we are not going back. Probably we are, but not that bad communism.
No, just like
before
techno-fascism.
89. Yes, I call it participative fascism, because you can participate, you can vote, but
that's just a ritual.
Yeah.
You know, they've done that since ancient times.
But then you can use the word participative. You know, that's how it works.
Well, if you really think about it, it's always been participative in some way, right? Like in ancient times, leaders claimed to represent the gods, and the gods are just like these creatures that are above morality, right? So that they can do anything. And if you got a problem, just go take it up with the gods. I'm just doing what they're telling me to do, right? I mean, democracy is
Yeah,
no
yeah,
different. I represent the people. The people is just
yeah,
a fictional being that's above morality. If you got a
yeah.
problem with it, take it up with the people. Why don't you go raise awareness or vote differently or whatever? It's just another. It's the same story.
Discuss. That's the most important. You need to create public discussion. All right. So we were thinking that that people in Czech Republic and in Slovakia, you know, after the monetary reforms and so on, are very skeptical of state power, like disproportionately. I'm not saying everyone is, but like you have real libertarian communities here, and it's something like in some places where you talk about anarcho-capitalism and things like that, you would be laughed out of the room and like no one would even talk to you. And here, like people like talk about it at universities, and like you can have this conversation even in public, and it's kind of like there's a significant proportion of people that understand things like Bitcoin, maybe
Pretty cool.
anarcho-capitalism markets. So we realized, and we were thinking, what is the connecting idea? And we have found, or at least I didn't know about it. Maybe the others did. This idea of this like an important person of the dissent during communism, a philosopher that wrote an essay called Paralelni Polis. And the premise is very simple, and it pretty much applies into probably also what you do. So I will shortly explain. It's not very difficult. So this was after the communist government basically rejected the movement towards kind of more liberated society called Heart 77, which was a document where like kind of important people, university professors, celebrities, and so on, just asked the government to kind of be nicer, be like don't go against things like Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it didn't say stop with the communism, we want democracy, nothing like that. It was like a very mild, like follow your own laws, because there were a lot of like political trials where people would be jailed for political reasons and not even according to the communist law and so on. So it was like a very very important, maybe now we can say very naive attempt to reform the government. And the communists say basically,
No kidding.
no kidding. Okay, goodbye. And so this philosopher said, okay, we are living in this dystopia, in this communist regime. It is not possible to reform it from inside. If you want to overthrow it, that's bloody or expensive, usually both. Like you need people on the streets, like violent conflict, or you need to convince like a huge amount of people to do it peacefully, which happened in the end. But like more than a decade later. So he said, okay, so this is our situation, and he himself, as a like practicing Catholic, which was also not very allowed, said that he doesn't want to go to the violent path. He doesn't have the resources to basically finance the change of public opinion. We asked them to reform. Okay, so what do we do now? Like we still want to live a free life. So he said, okay, let's just build these islands of freedom where we won't go directly against the state and the regime. We do everything they ask us, but we can build these islands of freedom. So I'll give you an example. Education, mandatory brainwashing. Like if you didn't send your kids to school to be brainwashed, they would basically take them from you and like ship them to some re-educational center with a fancy, nice sounding name. So of course, like you are not stupid. You don't want someone to take your children from you, so you send them to school. But there is no law saying that in the evening at 6 p.m. You couldn't call, 10 kids from the neighborhood to your kitchen and teach them something else, or say, this part is brainwashing, and this is how it actually is, or whatever. Let's read this essay by a philosopher from the West, anything like that. Another example is culture. Of course, if you had like a punk or metal band and that was not, singing the songs of the communist revolution, but something mildly controversial, of course they would not publish you, they would not play you on the radio. But like taking your instruments under the bridge by the river and playing your songs, not forbidden, at least not formally. There would of course be some censorship and police action in some cases, but you could do it in private, you could do it like separately. So we would basically build these parallel structures. They were also thinking, and especially Benda was a bit worried about these free markets. But when we think about it, like he writes it in the essay that it should be like basically black markets, but free markets in some sense. Which when we read it now, we we think about this market society and everything like that, but for them, it was basically trading apples for whatever else they needed, for alcohol, or like helping someone out when they got banned or economically prosecuted, and like trading in these like very small ways. So basically, he advocated
under
for
a communist government, pretty much everything's a black market.
Depends. Like actually, the example that I use, like selling your own produce from the garden, was permitted if they didn't steal your garden, of course, which is another story. So this was his idea, and we thought that this is basically an old formulation of crypto-anarchy. Like, of course, now you have encrypted rooms and whatever private money and things like that. So you can use this strategy. For them, it was like playing a concert under the bridge before anyone notices, and then like living fast and like temporary autonomous zones if you're into Hacking Bay and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But so
we're named
we
PAZNIA after, it's like a play on permanent autonomous zones.
PAZNIA.
Okay.
I didn't get that, but that's a good name.
It also means peace and fucking Spanish or some shit. I don't know. Paz.
Oh wow. Oh, okay.
You can ask Rayo too.
Ah,
I didn't fucking
Paz.
come up with it.
All right. So we thought that it is very, very similar, and we can use this tradition in the name Paralelni Polis. Polis meaning city or society, or like a smallest unit of society. So basically building parallel society, and well, we've learned a lot along the way. First of all, it's not very easy to run the whole thing in Bitcoin, especially in the early days. Volatility, and we had to deal with things like high fees on chain, like
Yeah, I mean, it
payment
was totally fucked back
costing
then.
more than coffee, things like that. But like when we started, like there were guys that were scanning the payment QR code with their laptop's webcam because they had an iPhone, and on iOS Apple didn't permit crypto apps, so people would bring their laptops to buy coffee, and like many crazy and interesting stories, and we ended up having whatever the current Czech Prime Minister as a guest, very unwillingly, and many other things. But
Unwillingly. What, were you holding him
yeah,
hostage?
no, we didn't want him there in the first
Oh.
place.
Oh, you were unwilling.
Yeah, we were unwilling. So it was
Why
actually
didn't you
during
just take
Hackers
him out?
Congress. So basically, one of the artists got an invitation. He was doing like a very nice graffiti work, and someone just said, "I have a free wall, and you can do whatever you want with it." And it's near Paralelni Polis, so it's a good place, and you could do something with the wall. And at the time, the current prime minister was Minister of Finance, and he was asked on some public radio about Bitcoin. And he said that, what did he say exactly? I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but no one is paying with it, or something. Total bullshit. So they painted his face on the wall with the quote and the Bitcoin logo, and it was basically an ad for Hackers Congress. So one day his whatever secretary calls us that he wants to talk about it or something. And it's basically an open place. I don't know how he ended up there actually. I don't know. Someone maybe said yes. I don't know, but but it was very funny because no one clearly wanted to talk to him when he arrived with his like security and like taking a selfie in front of the Bitcoin ATM with the private key printed on paper. I was, and we ended up because it was the night when I think before Hackers Congress, which is the biggest conference we organized. Now it's renamed to Dark Prague, and even though the place no longer exists, the conference will happen in October. So if you're into crypto-anarchy, come check it out. It's very interesting place and space to be in. So we had Andreas Antonopoulos. I don't know if you remember him or have seen his talks. He's very.
I feel like I've heard that name before, but I'm not sure who it is.
He was a very early person that promoted the ideas of Bitcoin, and he understood it technically, but he has a gift for improvised speech and very good metaphors, and he's like he's a storyteller, but not in a bad way. No, he's really great. Like if you watch any of his videos, it's like very he has a gift of speaking and so on. So I value him highly. So there was Satoshi Labs Trezor Hackathon on the top floor in the Institute of Crypto-Anarchy. It ended. There was Andreas and some people, and someone just say, these guys here, go talk to him. So Andreas with his gift explained him Bitcoin, and after some time, he said, "Oh, so it's the same as our EET system, this blockchain thing." And EET is basically his surveillance system that he introduced, which is mandatory reporting of all retail transactions to the tax authorities. So basically, you couldn't do any sale without instantly uploading all the transaction data to the government, which we boycotted from day one. Like it was never even like we didn't even think about implementing, but
Well,
basically legally.
that brings me to a question I wanted to ask you, which was like, how did you pull this off? Like, what was the practical reality of boldly running a so-called state-free operation right out in the open?
I don't think it's a good idea in general, but this worked out very nicely. And for that, I need to give you some more context about the art group. So the art group did it's called Stohoven, which is a pun on, it means both out of it and 100 pieces of shit. So it's the same word, depends on how you space the words. It had many controversial projects. I will give you just one that is my favorite, which was the Czech Republic had very retarded president, and presidents are quite different in Europe than in the States. The president basically has no power except he commands the army, and it's like more representative. It's the guy that shakes hands with all the other guys. So I don't even think it's important. But anyway, so he was there. And the project was that some members of the group decided to climb the roof of the Prague castle and steal the standard. That's the flag when the president is in the palace.
Right, I remember that.
It is so we stole the flag, and then it had another continuation. Is there was a court, there was a trial of aimed at the guys who were caught right down under the palace with the flag already gone. And basically the judge said, okay, I understand that this is an artistic act and so on, but you still have to pay damages, which is of course correct. Okay, you should pay damages if you've stolen something. No one argued with that. But then we thought, okay, but we should not pay it to the government because or the president's office, because they didn't pay for the flag, the people did. So we cut the flag into more than 1,000 pieces and made an artwork with the Bitcoin private key, like in a QR code. And basically, we were handing out the damage on streets of all the big cities in Czech Republic back to the people, and it became an art that you could frame, and it was the piece of the flag. So this artwork was called the decentralization of power. So we decentralize that flag with scissors and attaching Bitcoin value to it. So anyway, so with all these projects, we call, or someone called the art form media sculpture, because what you do is you do something very controversial in public, but usually no one sees it. Like no one physically saw that someone stole the flag. So the actual artwork happens in the media, how they talk about it, and usually it is very good if it's 50-50 split, like 50% people hate it, 50% people agree with it, and it's kind of like it creates this tension. and usually also within the group. So one of the guys who went to the roof actually said that he doesn't agree with it, and we shouldn't do it because even the Nazis didn't take the flag down, and it's like a traditional
Oh,
Czech
please.
flag. I don't know. I'm not Czech, so I don't understand this, and I don't have any like emotional relationship to this, and neither to any Slovak flag. So for that matter, so I didn't understand. But it's like it's good if you are kind of trying to find the edge and go a little bit beyond it and like discover where it actually is, and then it creates this tension and it creates discussion, and that basically fuels the artwork. So anyway, but what happened was that that the group became quite popular and very good with media. So basically anything, so we basically changed the asymmetry. I say we, I didn't have anything to do with it, other smart people did. But basically, I think their calculation kind of flipped, because now they know that when they poke the hornet's nest, it will be all over the media. People will talk about it. People will, question the decision. Like, should they have really, like, attacked a non-profit organization like this, and so on. And it becomes for them much, much easier to leave us alone because, okay, maybe something is happening there that is not like super legal, and like we wouldn't like if everyone did it, but like if we poke these guys, the real result will be we will have to talk to the media and kind of justify our actions, and like people like the place, like the Parallel Polis and so on. So it's I think it's similar to like if you have let's say a squat, which is quite common in Europe, that has like artists and like people
Right,
like to
yeah.
go there and see, okay, this is a place, they've done something with it. There's like art workshops, and something is being created here. It's not violent, it's not like hurting
Yeah.
anyone. So if someone comes and like by force like evicts everyone because of some made up reason, and like I don't say that I agree with squatting and like kind of interfering with or interfering with private property. That's maybe another story. But you kind of create this dynamic in society where, like, if you do something like that, you would have to justify yourself, and it's like it's not even the end result. Like, I don't think that the government is like this super smart organization that has like a super specific goal. Like, if you look at it from the point of view of the enforcer, they come 8 a.m., drink bad coffee, and complain about their life to their colleagues and hope to get home as fast as possible. Like, that's what the bureaucrat does. Then they imagine, okay, I will have to go talk to these guys. First of all, they're jerks. It will not be a pleasant interaction. Then like 3 TV stations will call me, and I will have to talk to them, and then I will look like an idiot in all the media, and friends will ask me about it. Maybe I'll just go home.
Yeah.
Of course, like if we were doing whatever, I don't know, decentralized markets with organs for transplantation, it would be a different story. I think markets like that should also exist, but we didn't do that. So it was not like serious enough for them to attack this organization, and the payoff would not be in their favor. So I think that's why.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of having more market anarchists, like artistic collectives, because it does kind of seem like artistic collectives like anarchists doing art has mostly been the realm of anarcho-communists, like as you say, squatters,
Yeah,
for example. And I do think we could use a little more of that. I don't usually
I
talk about that
I
though. Usually talk
I
about
think.
killing people and black markets.
Yeah, we also had Jim Bell on, so which was also controversial. Um, uh, so that's for killing people. I think actually having an art group by itself is quite not common, because artists usually don't work well in groups, because everyone has strong opinions, and unless you like make the art out of the conflict and there is a good way where everyone is kind of happy with the result, an art collective is usually like it's very rare. Like you would more of the time you would have individual artists and not an art collective. This worked because the art really came out of the conflict between us, like our interaction. Like it was like 10 minutes into the meeting, people were yelling at each other and like violently disagreeing.
That's a good sign.
Yeah,
Let me ask you
yeah.
this: from your experiences with the Paralelni Polis, in general, because it's a movement, you know, it's a bit bigger than the original location. What have you learned from this practical lessons, like to do with operational security, dispute resolution? How do you hold people accountable who control the budget? You know, shit like that.
So we have learned that these things are really hard, and I don't think like one of the mistakes that we did repeatedly in multiple locations is relying on volunteers, and
Oh yeah, no, that's I could have told you that.
and and then and then but then you have the other side, which is when you are like Bitcoin only or later crypto only, when we added Litecoin because of the fees and the Monero and stuff like that. That that like cuts your target market like 90%. Like people will really not buy Bitcoin and like go with the whole crypto torture just to buy coffee or participate in an event or something like that.
Well, times have
So
changed a bit. I mean, it's a lot easier to do now with
a
like
bit like
Monero or
I
Lightning or something.
I I I do it. It's not a technological problem. It's just, you know, you have a person that is interested in the ideas. They walk in, and the first thing you start with is, you know, you need to install this wallet and don't forget the seed. And like you can do it in 5 minutes, but for them it is like, no, I'd rather go home, or maybe I'll just drink water and not buy anything. I don't want to deal with it. And it's like for me it is also a good thing, because those people that pass this filter, uh, they kind of are the people that you want. Like
Yeah,
so
I think
so
so. Yeah.
so so the place was also like deliberately strange. Like we had when we began, there was a 3D printing workshop in the basement, and a lot of stuff was 3D printed. Then you had like usually in the coffee shops you have a bar, and you have a barista behind the bar, and you are on the other side. Here the bar was on a huge wooden table in the center, and you could walk around it. There was no like, this is the barista area and this is your area. You could like stand next to the barista by the coffee machine. So we only played Creative Commons or like open source music. So that was weird. Like you came in and you knew zero of the songs, like, and some of them were pretty bad. So you come into this parallel world, and it's off in some way, and then they ask you to whatever pay with some funny money. So if someone passes, they're in, because they're like it opens their mind, and for those that survive that and are not scared and don't run away and just kind of are open enough to absorb it all, or at least tolerate it, then you have someone who is interested. But it people are in general not very open-minded. So it revenue wise, you can really feel it hard. Um, so volunteers and kind of being too focused on but it was the experiments that how it started. Can you run it on Bitcoin only? That was how we started. So
So the original one is gone now, I think. But Paralelni
yes.
Polis, it's a plural. There's a network of shit. How is the network doing of Paralelni Polis? What other cool shit is out there?
So there was one in Bratislava that I started, which is the capital of Slovakia, which didn't survive the year 2020. Guess what happened then? And and then there is one in Košice, which is the second largest Slovak city, and that's operating still and quite nice. I really enjoy it. So that one is doing well, and it's very, very hard to just speak in short what is going on and what is happening, because it's basically a place where you have a lot of people, a lot of meetups, and everyone has projects, ideas, things they're working on. So yeah, there's everyone has a
if somebody
project.
wanted to go about starting their own Paralelni Polis, how might they go about that?
So we published this as an open source concept. I think it is still on the web. I think information is not very up to date, so I would suggest talking to any of us that we can maybe pass some lessons we have learned. But that's basically the concept is simple. You can use even the brand and everything. You have to basically agree with a few commandments, I would say. Some of them are funny regarding design. For example, I think commandment 10 says that the world is black and white, and in your graphic representation and propagation, you should only use black and white colors and no other. There is, of course, you will never take state money, not even indirectly. So even if it's a whatever NPR would be a good example, then that's a hard no. Then of course not accepting state issued money. So you can accept Bitcoin, Monero, gold coins, silver, whatever, but not fiat. And then I don't know if we had it in the commandments, or if it was something that we later introduced, but it was inspired by P.A.Z. is never call the police, which
Hell yeah.
we thankfully didn't have to test in practice, because no one even wanted to call the police. But that is a good rule to have. If you have a problem, then you deal with it in the community. Sure. That's how ethnic minorities do it, at least. I don't know where you're at, but like I can't imagine like if two Vietnamese in Slovakia had a conflict that they would call the state police. They would probably call some of their peers, and they will deal with their shit and um, not go to the state for help because it's biased against them from the start. So so yeah, the I don't think there's like a and but I think what you can get inspired by, and I think it goes very well together, is either just using the methodology of starting a hackerspace. There's
Right.
quite
Yeah.
a lot of knowledge about that on hackerspaces.org, and we've spoken a lot to like Paralelni Polis was inspired by a hackerspace that we started in Bratislava as well, and that was inspired by people like Mitch Altman, who's amazing, and he started Noisebridge in San Francisco.
Well, speaking of
So
which, do you think there's like cool shit that second realm networks like Paralelni Polis or PAZNIA or whatever could do together? Like we could be like the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild, and we could all shoot like lasers at the White House or something at the same time.
I think very unsolved and very needed thing is some sort of communicating reputation, because that is
Oh yeah.
like you have people that go from community to community and are maybe not very reliable or outright scammy, and like of course you want to also keep people's privacy, so you don't want to talk too much about people, but
We need zero
there should
knowledge reputation systems.
yeah, that's very tricky, but that's one of the things I'm thinking about constantly
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, me
past
too.
decade maybe.
Yeah.
But I found out that if you can solve the problem with something else than reputation, it's much better. So to give you an example, like you're trading with someone, you can even have like good reputation, but when both parties are anonymous, you don't have reputation. You never will, because it will break anonymity unless we have the zero knowledge version of reputation system. So what you can do is both sides basically prepay the fine or payment for damage.
Yeah, bond. Yeah.
Some kind of bond, some kind of escrow, and so on, and then you don't need reputation, because you change the economics and the game theory in a way where the problem is solved without reputation.
Yeah.
And
When we
I
get a
have
little more
found that
advanced, we can have insurance too, like liability
yeah,
insurance, decentralized
yeah,
insurance.
for sure, that would be amazing.
And of course, arbitration, decentralized arbitration markets and everything.
Arbitration we have played with a little bit, but so the problem with arbitration is that like the conflicting parties need to have something at stake, because otherwise they can just ignore the result of reputation if the cost of leaving the community is not too high for them. So this is kind of kept at what is your perceived value of being part of that community.
Well, there is physical enforcement.
There is physical enforcement. We have not tried that, but yeah, you like if you can still leave, if you can like physically escape, but also like you have invested in the community, you made relationships, then maybe you will be ostracized and no one will want to interact with you. Like that, like the economic cost of going away can be high, And one of the strategies to make this work is you make it even higher. Like you make it expensive to, or not expensive in terms of payment, but maybe in time to fully enter the community. Like more is not always better. You might want to, have spend some time with the people before you let them fully in, and
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
kind of. So
vetting.
entry cost and then the exit cost. I don't think should be a bond, but basically it is the value that the community provides to you, why you are actually part of that community, and the fact that you will lose it. Like really everyone in the community will enforce like if you don't abide by the result of arbitration, then no one will do anything with you, no kind of business, they won't go to dinner with you, you decided to ignore it, and that's a real cost. So you can do it, but we didn't.
Sure.
Like we had a few not very serious, some more serious that I wasn't too close to, fortunately, conflicts, and I don't think they ended up like very well. Like we didn't. Maybe the people who should have doing the decisions should have been doing the arbitration. Maybe they didn't do it that well, or and so on. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think this kind of goes back to the problem of using volunteers. Like this is why we need arbitration to be professional, like to have a market for it. So like it's someone's job.
We kind of had it. There was one member of our community actually started an arbitration service, and we have basically a very friendly company with attorneys that fit the role very, very nicely. But the thing is, when you know that that the person will not agree with you, you just say, okay, I don't trust you, and then you don't have another arbiter, and it's kind of like when you are somehow involved with one party, like you really need a variety of these. But one thing that also applies to arbitration, but also to your original question, that like what we have learned and what can be applied for other communities is, and we actually got this from Paul Rosenberg when he visited the Congress, but we didn't fully grasp it until much later, is that these things can't be designed. Like you think, you invent some great rules of the community, and this is how it will work, and this is how dispute resolution will work, and so on. And it's much more of a discovery process.
Yeah, you have to let the market do the work.
Yeah, market, like I would go even like lower level. It's like relationships between people at first. Like not everything is a market dynamics. It's
how
like
dare you
often,
how dare you tell a libertarian not everything's a market dynamic. When I kiss my baby, it is only to obtain psychic profit.
Sure.
There are capital factors of production involved. There's my lips, there's the baby, there's the space and the time. We combine these factors of production to produce psychic profits. And if I could exchange
and there's
the
of
feeling,
course subjective value of both. Yeah.
If I could sell that feeling on the market, I would. I don't need that crap. I sold the baby already.
You've got mail.
I've got mail. Do I actually have
Mail?
one?
What is that?
Well, I think he's reminding me to read the fan mail. So anyone can call in if you want. Nobody ever fucking calls in on this show. But yeah, fucking go to PAZNIA.com/call too. If you want to call in and talk to me and the legendary Juraj Bednar. But yeah, let's see what the fan mail is. Ryo2 posted something. The update that no one wanted, Tom Woods is still subscribed to and reading PAZNIA email updates. What a exciting and horrifying idea. I guess you need to put out an email update advertising my show then, and it should be specifically written to appeal to Tom Woods so that Tom Woods listens to my show. And then we'll see what happens. I don't think I should be allowed on his show though, but maybe Rayo 2 could get on Tom Woods. That might be worthwhile. Now I do see some fan mail here. I can't tell if it's some shit from last week that somehow fell through the cracks or if it actually is new. SimpleX's unreliability Fagdul Magdul Mendahi. SimpleX's unreliability makes Thane look like an unreliable oracle that doesn't answer your questions unless you pay it with someone's firstborn child, or dog, or credit card fraud. Yeah, I was just talking about that. You got to sell a baby. Fresh Prince. Any comments on cool alternative health things by the guest? Do people over there also like the Shai Hulud? Diarrhea can turn into an aerosol to go airborne. Had to take the opportunity to comment on that if everyone else was already going. I have heard that you're into biohacking or something. I don't know if that's what you mean by alternative health things that you're into or have done. I don't know if you want to touch on that.
I'm into a few. I like to work outdoors. I like things like the stimulation of the vagus nerve and the near-infrared red light to enhance the function of mitochondria and things like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I do a few of these. In Europe, very cool thing is happening. You had a hipster coffee culture, which is insane, and now you have the hipster sauna culture, and we now all go to saunas. So that's a great biohack, especially if you also do the cold plunge.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Those are all good ones. Yeah, infrared saunas and infrared light therapy and fucking saunas and cold plunge. That's all good stuff. Rayo2 says, LOL. I'm thinking about writing an email message to my whole list specifically addressed to Tom. I think that would be funny. It's free real estate.
I also think so.
That's kind of like Sam Hyde like posting on Twitter about how he wants to be on Joe Rogan for like years and years. Question for Thane and guest during privacy show. Favorite alcohol to get blackout drunk on? Is the Czechs just Europeans with guns? How based? Opinions on Christiania or whatever that thing is called where they break their laws for fun? Any cool decentralized VPS or so? You can.
I'm lost.
You can take.
As
an Eastern European, you must know more about alcohol.
Alcohol. Yeah, well, that's one of my biohacks is I don't drink any alcohol, but I joke that the Czechs mitochondria run on beer, so they wouldn't function without beer. I'm not Czech, so but in Eastern Europe, definitely alcohol is very
at least it's
very
not
important.
Vodka. I guess the further east you go, the worse the alcoholism gets.
Yeah, you're right.
It's actually true. But I think that's actually statistic fact.
Yeah, I think so. But we also have some spirits here, but that's not really my thing. So I prefer other biohacks than alcohol. I'm actually very boring because when I am at a party and everyone is drinking and I realize everyone is stupid, I just go
Yeah.
home and read a book or sleep, and I enjoy it a lot more. Anyway,
Yeah.
what were the other
It's
questions? There
awkward
were
when you're drinking too and they see that it's some sort of weird brownish liquid and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's adrenochrome laced blood from a terrified child." And then things get awkward for some reason. I don't know. That's like I thought libertarians were cool. You know, I don't know why they're being so uptight.
yeah, yeah.
Question for a show. Are there conspiracy theories in Europe? Is the moon landing real? And why is it flat? Is it true that the European tribes hate each other? Is it true that they make cake with Red Bull in it? What is the coolest, most anarchistic thing in Europe? Is it not paying parking tickets or maybe even refusing alcohol tax?
No, it is definitely tearing apart the bottle and the bottle cap. That's the most anarchistic thing you can
You
do.
mean like breaking the bottle?
No, you have a like
tear it
there's a
apart.
there's the very cool you haven't seen the memes, okay. So there is this super cool regulation of European Union that when you are opening a bottle with like water or whatever, kombucha or anything, the caps has to by law stay attached on the bottle. So when you drink it, I'm just doing it. I'm doing it physically. So I have a bottle, and now I drink with it, and then it hurts your nose because it's still attached to the bottle.
So it's like
So
it like pops open, but it stays attached to the bottle.
yes, yes, and that apparently,
What the fuck?
according to the experts in Brussels, reduces the plastic waste because you want to recycle the bottle, and if the cap stays attached, then you recycle the cap as well.
It's
So the
funny how they
most
like
anarchic thing you can do is to just tear it apart and take the cap out, which I just did.
hell yeah.
I'm very sad you didn't see it because it was like very spectacular.
You shouldn't talk
I just
about
did
that
it.
on the air.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might get in trouble. That's like tearing the tag off the mattress that says "Don't remove this tag."
Exactly.
Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. I feel like I had something clever to say, and I forgot.
You sounded like you had something clever to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Geez, what was it? We were talking about fucking caps.
Now it's gone like tears in the rain.
One day a real rain's gonna come and wash the scum off these streets. Anyway, question for a show. Are there I'm reading the other one again. Question for allegedly malicious fake Thane Riddle and based guest. Opinions on radio and pirate cables? Sorry. Smuggler mentioned cables and I got really wrapped up in that. Drones with alcohol, maybe? Was the black building extremely based or just slightly based? Feel free to refuse to answer if it is too much Fed bait. The thing with the flag was funny. Is waking like Jar Jar Binks good for ops, or walking like Jar Jar Binks good for OPSEC in Europe?
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
How much would you say the average European walks like Jar Jar Binks?
Who is Jar Jar Binks?
Jar Jar Binks is from episode 1, Star Wars episode 1, you know, the prequel trilogy. Remember, like 1999.
Oh, okay.
He was the floppy-eared alien that sounds like a Jamaican guy. No one liked him.
I think, let me see.
Would you say the average European walks a little like Jar Jar Binks? Because if so, then it might increase your anonymity set to walk like Jar Jar Binks.
It's best if everyone walks the same as everyone else. It's did you know that it's a real biometric thing, that it's like a fingerprint?
Yeah, I'm the Fresh Prince of privacy and security. This is what I talk about on this stupid show all the time.
All right.
How not freedom is Europe? Is it really that hard to find freedom people there? Are the Swiss based or just racist? How do we get JL Smuggler and F Brown on the show? Give them free glass fiber, maybe? What full spectrum anarchistic technology do we need? Cars, balloons, airships, drones, Legos, and PV cells, maybe?
We need mesh networks. That is the most important.
Amen to that.
I think Europe is depending on where, but I think especially Eastern Europeans are very freedom-minded. Like it's really a thing here. I don't know about like France and Germany that much. It's a libertarian movement in Germany. And are the Swiss really based? I think the Swiss are cool. Especially if they're born in Germany and immigrated to Switzerland. So, yeah, I was even considering Switzerland as a place to live, but then I realized that they have a wealth tax, and wealth tax means reporting, and that I don't do.
Follow the law. Just break the law.
It's very different to break the law in Switzerland and in some more coconut-leaning countries. The Swiss are quite good at enforcement, and so like the neighbors tell on you and so on. So that like there are. What I like to say is there are tax offices and tax service organizations you don't want to be a customer of, and I think Swiss and whatever IRS and the German, Spanish tax offices qualify because they can enforce things more than the more coconut leaning countries like Slovakia.
I remembered what I was gonna say about plastic. It wasn't that good.
Oh,
I was gonna say it's funny how they always act like they care about these big chunks of plastic when it's like well known that the main contributor to microplastic pollution is like laundering polyester clothing, and they never say anything about that. And on the contrary, they're like, look, we recycled water bottles into polyester clothing. It's environmentally friendly.
The problem is that you should not be looking at the real effect of these regulations, because it is the goal is not to reduce microplastics, but
it's just they just want
power. Make everyone feel that the problem is being handled by the grown-ups, and that's enough for most people, because most people haven't grown up and they need the nannies to tell them that everything's gonna be all right and they will handle all the problems.
Show question: opinions on free space optical comms?
What is that?
I guess it's like lasers, using communication with lasers. I guess I'm guessing. I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about with the Breath of the Wild divine beasts thing. We're all going to shoot lasers at the White House. I'm sure that'll send some kind of message. Question: what would cypherpunk or dark punk films or music be? Some style or lyrics or so? Industrial mixed with classic? I do want your opinion on this, actually.
Music. Well, my personal taste is probably very different to most other people, even in the.
Well, he's asking what you think like cypherpunk films or music would be like.
So I'm actually thinking about this a lot. So I will give you a recommendation by a band with a strange name called Piano Magic. And
Being magic?
piano,
Piano.
like a keyboard, piano. And the song is I came to your party dressed as a shadow. And that's the most cypherpunk song I know, with the lyrics that are very cypherpunk, and it is very strange because it nicely shows what I miss about cypherpunk, and what I think is missing, and it's kind of um, a feature of cypherpunk as well. But so it's a story about someone coming to your party dressed as a shadow and being hidden, like hiding under moonlight and in your breath and so on. And at the end, she just says that you will never even know I was here. And I was a little bit disappointed at the end, because then I was okay, so all this hiding and obscurity and so on, and we never learned why, like why, and
She didn't
that's
want you to
why.
know why.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I said it's also a feature that like you don't need to know why, and you don't need to have a reason. But that's why I think that lunar punk as a genre a little bit expands on the cypherpunk obscurity, because it is about creating something, and it adds this this solar punk kind of naive layer to it, of create building in community and so on. But what it takes from cypherpunk is kind of removing the naive thing that
Yeah.
we can just kumbaya together, build a better world and better
Yeah, I get
village. And of course, the politicians will come and say, "Oh, no, you're not allowed to deliver good things. That's what we are here for," and they will want to crush it. So cypherpunk kind of brings this realization that that you need to think about uh, things like privacy and resilience, anti-fragility, even.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes it a little bit more grown up. So that song is something that I have found cypherpunk. I don't know about very cypherpunk movies.
Yeah, I mean, this is a
Maybe.
very people haven't actually done a lot of. I think it's something to be discovered, but yeah, I have kind of
Yeah.
thought about it. I think films have maybe a slightly more obvious answer, because we have some idea of what cypherpunk stories might be like, because we have cypherpunk novels. So you
Yes,
could basically
exactly.
make that into a movie. But I guess you could then approach like, well, what's the video or audio style, or like with music? And I guess what I've thought is you need an aspect of glitch aesthetic, or randomness, or something that is cryptic, which is a good for a
Okay.
visual style or a sound, I think.
Okay, we had actually a very, very good discussion about this with a friend who goes by No Good Kid, and we did a cypherpunk zine together, which is called The Dark Forest. It only has issue 0 so far. And he also done the art and the graphics for Tamers of Entropy, for my novel I spoke about at the beginning of this show. And I was talking like I'm not very visual. I have even something that is called aphantasia, which is a condition when you have no visual imagination at all. Like I don't dream in visuals. I cannot imagine
Yeah, I've heard of
things.
that.
And so I was speaking to him about the visual side. Of course, I see things. So I have opinion on visuals. It's just a little bit more difficult because I cannot imagine it differently unless I do it on the computer. And he was saying that he specifically tries to avoid the glitch aesthetic. And like my favorite music genre is noise, so I'm very much into glitch in all forms. But he says that it kind of reduces it to nerds, and it can be much richer if you don't lean onto the glitch aesthetics too much. And
Yeah, you just want some.
kind
I
of,
think it should be a hybrid of that.
so
And maybe there should be an
so if
actual
you
punk aspect to the music too, since it's got fucking punk in the name. And also, it should be technical because Cypherpunks write code, so it should be kind of like math rock, where there's something clever you did to make the music. And for it to be dark
Yeah.
punk, the musician just has to be pseudonymous or anonymous. And also, they should use copyrighted material without licenses. Then it's dark punk.
Check out what he did with the visuals. I think it's quite nice because it's obscure without glitch. You can find it at darkfo.rest. Dark Forest
what?
and Dark Forest.
I get it.
But the
Dark
dot is
dot
after
rest.
FO, so
Yeah.
the top level domain is dot rest.
I get it.
So check it out. It's I think quite cool.
All right.
I wanted to say.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot what I wanted to say. Yes, about the you said that we should focus more on the punk, and there's a friend, and he's doing also like a cypherpunk poetry analog cassette magazine under bitpunk.fm. And one of the cassettes, you can also listen to it as a podcast, but you can get it as an analog cassette. And it's quite nice. It like shows
You should hide
encodings
codes.
and
That's another thing for
yeah,
Cypherpunk stuff. You should hide codes and riddles in there.
Yes, he does a lot in many episodes. But
that means Gravity Falls is a Cypherpunk cartoon.
Gravity Falls, yeah. One of the issues was called "We focus too much on cipher and not enough on the punk." So
yeah,
I'm there with you. We should be more punk.
So we've successfully wasted most of our interview time and just sort of prattling on.
Wow.
So one thing I want to cover in our last like 25 minutes or whatever is Ridester. We got to talk about Ridester. What the fuck is Ridester?
Roadster.
I wrote all these questions.
Roadster.
I thought Ridester and Roadster were two different things.
So I did the Roadster.
You didn't even do Ridester.
No. Roadster.
Oh my God.
Whoa, what the faux pas. But I will tell you about Roadster a little bit. Ridester is some kind of decentralized ride sharing. I think so, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Roadster.
I was lied to and told that you did that, but you just did Roadster. Okay. It's okay. I knew about Roadster too, so it's fine.
Okay. So I like to combine. So Roadster, like the official thing is that it's a decentralized version of Waze that shows cops and
like
other things, but cops. And I personally like to know when they're around and go some other way. So
yeah,
that's my use case. But
we
then,
need
like, if you
a camera icon, do you have camera icons in Roadster?
Yes, you can. Yes, speed camera.
Yeah.
Sure. But the thing is that this kind of mapping is more useful in exceptional situations. So imagine the revolution in Iran at the beginning of this year, even before the savers from across the pond came. And I had a friend during the protests in Iran with his family, and it was very strange because he said that they cut off the internet, and you have a family with a child, and they were like very violent. Like many people disappeared
yeah.
forever, and you didn't even know if you can go out on the street and buy groceries. Like really, like you didn't know, absolutely didn't know what was happening. Like the TV wouldn't tell you anything. You had no internet. There were like some pirate broadcasts from abroad to some parts of Iran, but you had really no information. So the first thing I did was I gave him, when he finally came out of there, I gave him a mesh core node, and I say, okay, if everyone had a mesh core node, you could at least talk to each other. And that's why I did also the bridge between mesh core and BitChat, because most people don't have a mesh core node, but everyone has a cell phone, even in Iran.
Yeah.
So what you could do is you could basically create a Bluetooth mesh on like highly populated areas, but then a single mesh core node in a town square would connect you to another town square, and you could communicate. So this would
Yeah,
basically
that's kind of a
solve
cool idea.
the need. So this is working.
And I
I
also
double.
saw on the GitHub for Roadster that it said that it was built to be compatible with mesh core, though it's not
Yes, exactly.
integrated
So
yet.
that's what I'm getting at. So basically, all these events like cameras, police, and violent thugs with guns and so on can be published on the map, but it was done in such a way that it fits in the size of a mesh core packet. So because otherwise you would need packet reassembly and it would get complicated. So it is one packet. And you can actually turn this packet back into the Nostr node and publish it to the relay from another node. So basically, you are in the area. So this already gives you a pretty good coverage, because you mainly want to know about events around you. But if anyone has internet connectivity or some kind of mesh Nostr relay, there are some projects building like Nostr Bluetooth mesh and so on. You can publish the node, and it's compatible, so you can actually translate one to the other. So this was a decision based on the fact that I wanted this to be easily like compatible with Meshcore. My main problem right now is not implementing it. Like the main problem is that there can right now be only one Bluetooth connection to your Meshcore node. So most people that are using Meshcore are using it with some kind of chat app, and there is no easy way how you can have the chat app and at the same time run something like Roadster to transmit the nodes. So I will have to fix it by using one of the open source Meshcore things that can expose some kind of interface for other apps to send and receive, and then you could do it with the open source app. But then most people are using the closed source app so it's for users, this would mean like the full change of user interface and everything. So this is a bit complicated. Another thing came from a friend who went to a Quaker meeting in the US, and they were in a need of something like this because they are helping immigrants avoid ICE agents for the community, not even for Quakers only, but if they know that in their neighborhood there is like a undocumented Mexican immigrant, they would come, they would tell them, there are ICE agents in the area, we can take your kid to school, we can shop for your groceries and so on. And the
Kinda
thing
cool.
is that they've done the coordination in signal groups, and then the FBI started infiltrating these signal groups. They would just come to the meeting, and or in some other way, I don't know how,
Yeah.
they would convince them that they want to join the group. But if the information is anonymous and it's spread over the air or through a decentralized network or semi-decentralized network, you can have you can say, okay, here we saw an ICE agent, click on the map, and then everyone in the area could actually see this information, and it's not attributable to anyone. There's no one to
Yeah.
investigate because the information is anonymous. So I think it started as an idea, okay, let's make these decentralized alternative to Waze, which shows me cops around, so I can take the scenic route and avoid them. But I think it is quite useful to have a location awareness in your area, and for these freedom communities, for many more reasons than during COVID, people were using
Oh, yeah.
using
For sure, yeah.
Waze and reporting the enforcers. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's something that would be useful. So Roadster
For
right
sure, big
now
time.
is either a web app where you can just see the map and post, or it's an Android app currently that is integrated with Osmand, the open source maps.
Oh, yeah.
I don't I use Osmand a little bit. I like the other open source privacy friendly apps more, like Comaps or Organic Maps, but Osmand has a plugin system, so there was a way how I
Yeah.
could from another
Yeah.
app basically paint on the map and have a button that says a report. But I've seen someone created another app called Roadster, which I haven't tried yet. But it seems that it integrates also with navigation. I don't know if it's based on my code at all. I will check if it's compatible, like event-wise and so on. But
So
this is the
Shadrach says bitpunk.fm cassettes are awesome. I feel like he's brought that up before.
yes, it's amazing. I love it.
Well, let me ask you this now. In Czechia, Slovakia, there's a fair bit of human trafficking, isn't there? Why don't you build a decentralized market for human trafficking?
These things are discovered, not built. So,
Well, do we at least have a
Very
darknet market that allows human trafficking? I mean, these darknet markets are run by fucking pussies, dude. They don't even let you list guns on them.
no guns, no organ transplants.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they disallow organ transplants. I just don't think anyone's tried listing that yet.
Where was it? I think in Iran it is quite acceptable. Was it Iran? I think so.
I mean, shit, why not?
It's because especially with kidneys, if you know that you can get a replacement kidney if you need it because there's a market for it, then you can sell one of your kidneys. So it's
now we've got to touch on this because here's the thing. I'm kind of crazy about mesh networking. I think it's sort of like, in my mind, there's like 3 big dApps we need, which is tokenized private mesh networking, tokenized distributed data storage, that's like encrypted and cool and censorship resistant, and tokenized like secure distributed computing, whatever, maybe using homomorphic encryption or fucking zero knowledge proofs, maybe even TEEs, even though I don't like those as much. But mesh networking strikes me as the most important thing because networking is what we do everything else on. Like currently everything is all this cool decentralized shit we're doing is on top of the fucking internet. And I'm getting the sense that you must feel the same way because you are saying, so we've got to touch on that. Like, I mean, I recently, Yeah, go on.
I'm not familiar with any tokenized solution, and I'm not saying it's not good,
I
but
kind of started the project. That's I'm not familiar with one either.
okay.
I mean, there are tokenized solutions, but they're not what I'm looking for. Like
Yeah,
people have tried to tokenize like just LoRa and using a
yeah.
blockchain.
Helium. Yeah,
So yeah, helium, exactly. So you need
yeah,
an
yeah.
internet connection before you even start. That's not where
So
I'm
so I will tell you the situation with Meshcore, which is amazing. So in Slovakia, but also Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, Germany, Austria, you have like amazing coverage. Like I can write from Vienna to Eastern Slovakia using Meshcore, and the infrastructure is here already. Like
Huh.
right now, I am at a place where we didn't have Meshcore coverage, and in the forest there's not even a cell phone coverage, which is very rare for Europe. But we basically spoke like a few friends who spent time around here. We bought the solar node, and a friend climbed the tree and like put it and taped it to the tree, and now we have coverage. And like this is something that like when I go to America, you don't have this experience, but like
Yeah.
literally anywhere, like if I'm sitting on a toilet in any like apartment or house I spend time in, I have Meshcore coverage, and I
I mean,
can
to be fair,
speak to my mom, and yeah,
there are a couple cities in America where there's pretty good mesh-tastic
yeah, yeah,
activity, but I have a similar problem with both Meshtastic and Meshcore, which is they just use LoRa. And what
yeah.
I'm really horny for is a networking layer, mesh protocol where like it doesn't matter what the physical link layer, the the data link layer.
So
You can
there
do.
are two cool projects that one I was very much into and one I'm getting into. The one I was very much into is Reticulum, which is basically a full networking stack that can do LoRa, but
Yeah.
it's totally independent of.
Reticulum's I talk about it on the show all the time. I'm pretty
Yeah, yeah.
obsessed with
So
Reticulum.
so I love it. What I love about it is that the code is beautiful. Like I spent so much time with it. I even created a Cashew wallet
Yes.
for Reticulum, and like always when I find like I look at the code and I think, okay, maybe this could be done differently, or I don't understand this
Yeah.
part of code. You just go to the matrix channel and you write there, and Mark explains you why it's perfect the way it is, and when you understand what he's saying, you realize he's right. So it's a
He's got a very
like
good philosophy. He's a visionary
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Very, very good coder. Like I consider Reticulum to be a piece of art. I tried to build a Reticulum network on LoRa, but I also tried the Wi-Fi Halo, which is like a longer range Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's basically better than LoRa, as far as I can tell.
But not as far. Like here with LoRa, you can do hundreds of kilometers. Like literally, I can write across the country. Like I can, like
You
400,
mean like
500.
if you have line of sight?
You have, because people here put the repeaters on the tallest mountains all the time.
Oh, wow.
So
There you go.
so like 4 or 5 repeaters, and you can go cross countries, like not cross US, cross
How do
whole
they
country.
power it?
Solar. So it's solar plus battery. So it's
They put a
totally
big fucking
independent of
solar
the grid.
power on. Wow, they're doing it
No,
for real.
it's 20 watt panel usually. So
How big is it?
like I don't know, like half the arm or something. Not big, like a
Not bad.
tablet. It's like an iPad or like
It's
a
not bad.
normal
That's
tablet.
actually smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I was surprised. So this is quite nice, but I couldn't like when I realized that Meshcore is all around and it just works and people are into it and build repeaters, I
What's
said,
the
okay, I
what's
can
the protocol you're getting into that you were talking about?
FIPS,
Oh
FIPS.
yeah, FIPS. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I started learning about that and like I'm definitely interested in it, but I'm not feeling like it's as good as Reticulum so far when I'm reading the docs. And
Yeah,
Yggdrasil is
yeah.
cool too.
It's that I don't know, but what is nice about FIPS is integration with existing apps, and you
Oh
can
yeah, because of Nostr and
and
stuff.
Nostr and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
you can do many things on Nostr. Like I didn't like Nostr at first when I heard
Yeah.
about it, and like it's just JSON bullshit
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like not
It's
very
pretty much my
useful.
reaction, yeah.
But then I realized that okay, you basically like almost anything I can imagine can be a static HTML progressive web app that you can just put on your phone, and the backend is just a stupid Nostr that stores blobs. And so that's the first thing that, for example, over the past week, I have built an event app that does like matching for you and tries to whatever schedules and organizing, and it's like completely decentralized event app because
Yeah.
I hate all those conference apps.
I see what you mean.
So for things like meetups and so
Nostr's
on.
cool because it has encouraged a lot of decentralized network development, and
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
it's
and
kind of
it's
easy
super
to work.
easy, and this is like a killer feature. Like when you like if you know, for example, hole punch, it's also interesting idea, but it doesn't work from the browser. So the feature that you can use it from the browser is, I think, very important because all these walled garden phones, like that's basically your only option if you don't want to go to the walled gardens of app stores and Play Store and stuff like that. So
Well, anyway, we're we're running out of time.
yeah,
But thank
sure.
you,
Thank
Juraj
you,
Bednar.
thank you.
You're a
As you
legend.
realized, I like to talk a lot, so I used all the time, hopefully not wasted. So thank you for
Yeah,
inviting me.
we got some good stuff out of there. We'll have someone summarize it for us. Just would tell the LLM to summarize it for us. But anyway, thank you so
Yeah.
much. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
putting up with the show.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Thank you
fucking,
for
oh yeah,
having me.
leave us with your plugs. What like links and shit do you want people to know?
Tamersofentropy.net is my current project, and I would be very happy if you read the Lunar Punk story of
Sounds like it might actually be
how
good.
it looks. I think it is very good, but I have written it. So, and then you can find me easily by name on Nostr, even X, and also website is easily findable.
Juraj
Others.
Bednar. Juliet Uniform Romeo Alpha Juliet. Bednar.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Fucking go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleX. Get into the fucking various chat rooms on SimpleX. If you know any scrappy young men aged 3 to 25 who seem like they could end up being a cop, a soldier, a gang member, a terrorist, or a school shooter, please make sure to let them know that we're on TikTok and Instagram at PAZNIA Radio. I am a super serious and good privacy and security consultant. You should give me money and I'll help you. Go to vonupodcast.com/CD to get me on session and SimpleX. On my next week's show, the guest shall be John Tietjin, if I'm saying that right, to talk with me about food security, one of the most key kinds of security. He's starting some kind of online education platform to teach folks how to get started raising and selling rotational grazed, grass-fed, and finished beef. I leave you with a quote from the 1976 film Taxi Driver. Thank God for the rain, which has helped wash away the garbage and trash off the sidewalks. I'm working long hours now, 6 in the afternoon to 6 in the morning. sometimes even 8 in the morning, 6 days a week, sometimes even 7 days a week. It's a long hustle, but it keeps me real busy. I can take in $350 a week, sometimes even more when I do it off the meter. All the animals come out at night. Whores, skunk pussies, beggars, buggers, beggars, queens, fairies, dopers, junkies. Sick, venal. Someday a real rain will come and wash all this scum off the streets. This Self-Liberation Saturday will keep going for some hours still with sundry PRND programming, such as the beloved PAZNIA Folklore Storytime, but probably not, because we probably talked over that. But it's followed by the new live Life and Times of PAZNIA, the monthly news show with Ryo 2 and Shadrach, this time with Freedom Pioneer focus guest Richard the Dick Greaser, who's known for the Bitcoin Bugle and hosting on our very own PAZNIA Radio Music Mondays. So don't touch that dial, boss. Stay tuned and stay frosty.
I can't speak without swearing, and I've only got my grade 10, and I haven't had a cigarette since I've been arrested, and I'm ready to fucking snap. So I'd like to make a request under the People's Freedom of Choices and Voices Act that I be able to smoke and swear in your courtroom. Because if I can't smoke and swear, I'm fucked. And so are all these guys.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
Holy fuck, boys. Did you know how much money there is in those flock cameras? Fuck ripping copper pipes out of trailers for liquor money? We'll be able to buy all sorts of liquor and dope and guns now.
Ricky, you're gonna go straight back to jail? You can't steal flock cameras. Definitely theft over 1,000.
Does it bear shit on the Pope? Fucking watch me, Bubbles.
Ricky, what are you shooting at? Get in the car!
5 minutes later.
Well, I'm back in fucking jail. It was such a good idea. Just steal flock cameras and we live everly ever after. Honest, truthfully, I did fuck up. Probably should have, not just open fire, maybe a chainsaw attached to one of those electronic government birds next time.
Billy Mays here for the Pain Liberator Miracle Muscle Pain Relief Spray. Ever have one of those deep and dirty pains or strains that just won't go away? Annoying migraines? Maybe you got into an altercation with Goat General Willie 2 and are only alive because of his mercy. Regardless, you've tried everything, but have you tried Pain Liberator? With the power of DMSO, aspirin, and magnesium, this Miracle Muscle Pain Relief Spray is taken directly and deeply into the tissues, providing instant pain relief. Wow. Commonly used in sports and physical training independently, DMSO has its own benefits, but combined with anything, in this case, aspirin and magnesium, those compounds are taken directly to your pain point with 90% absorption rate. Double. Wow. That means lower doses needed, rapid relief, and a provably safe way to live pain-free. Just visit libertyunderattack.com/pain to place your order today. Again, libertyunderattack.com/pain.